There are a lot of reasons why your foundation might be looking splotchy, cakey, dry, orange, or like a mask on your skin. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about kind of the top 5 things that I often think go wrong with foundation and what you can do about it. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Amanda. I've been creating makeup content for over 7 years now, and I have tested hundreds of foundations. And if you find the video helpful, definitely make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe because I would absolutely love to have you back. So the first reason that you might hate the way your foundation looks is a poor color match. This is an all too common issue, and if you've worn makeup, it's a universal issue that we have all dealt with. A bad shade match can instantly turn an otherwise good formula into something that looks mask-like and awkward on the skin. So in order to pick a good shade, we have to talk about how to shade match. There are so many different videos about how to color match, and I'll leave some of my favorites down below. But in today's video, we're going to do like a quick guide and some helpful exercises to help you guys get this right. So first of all, you need to figure out your undertone. I think that figuring out your shade, like how light or dark your skin is so much easier than finding your undertone. So your skin tone is your skin's actual color, but the undertone are all of these colors that exist again below your skin's actual surface. There can be two people with, in general, a very, very fair skin tone. They can have completely separate undertones. And there are 4 main undertones. We have warm undertones, which have more yellow or golden hues to them. We have cool undertones, which often have pink, red, and blue. We have neutral undertones, which are a mixture of both cool and warm undertones. And then we have olive undertones, which have a green hue to them. And to make things a little bit more complicated, you also can have more than one undertone. So for example, my neck actually has way more yellow to it than my face itself. I just want to say if you've had difficulty with this, you're not alone, and there are so many different factors to this. I'm going to give you guys a couple of exercises to help you find your undertone. So the first one is the white paper test, or you can also do this with white fabric as well. Just make sure that it's a very like optic white. So put a very white piece of paper up to your skin and just take some time and sit in front of natural light. Look at the different colors that you see on your skin. You might notice some blue, some pink, might notice some yellow. Take a look at these colors and write them down. And also make note of certain areas of the face where you're noticing this color. This is also a great exercise to do not just on your face, but on your neck and then on the inner wrist. I know a lot of folks say to do the inner wrist test and look at what color your veins are. That I do think is a really good place to start. I think just comparing your skin to a white piece of paper can really start to get you more acclimated to these colors that you're seeing and what your undertone might be. And for some people, it's very obvious, and for other people, it just takes a little bit of time. Another test within this test is to take a more cream colored fabric, so something with a little bit more warmth to it. Put that against your skin as well. And generally notice if you find that your skin looks overall brighter with that white fabric or piece of paper, or if you feel like your skin synergizes and meshes well better with the cream, because that often can let you know if you have a little bit more of a warm undertone. I almost always look better with a white with a touch of cream to it rather than just like a very optic white. And that makes sense to me again because I am more warm to neutral. Bonus tip that I have for you guys that I think is something really important to keep in mind is that if you have a lot of redness on your skin, I know that it can be super difficult to color match, especially if you have a lot of spots as well. Try to look on your face or on your neck, and again on the inner arm, look for these spots where you do not have any hyperpigmentation or a ton of redness. Try to look for these spots where you can really see your true skin color. I think oftentimes some people go like straight to their cheek right here. So many of us have a lot of veins around our nose. There's just a lot of blood flow in that area. You may have thought that you've had cool undertones for a very long time, but you're just dealing with redness. So I wanted to throw that out there, especially because that was me actually, because I have light skin, because I have more red hair. Everything that I read online for so long was telling me, oh, you probably have a cool undertone. And then on top of that, I also struggled with acne. I've done the bad shade matching for a very long time. Test number 2, we're going to talk about hex codes. This is kind of my own weird technique, but I think it can be really helpful for getting a good idea of your undertone, especially if you're just starting out. So I want you to take a natural light photo of yourself. This is even better if you can get your face and your neck. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at our hex codes on our face and on our neck. I'm not an expert in HTML or hex codes, but essentially a hex code is a 6-digit number that is accompanied with specific colors when you're looking at like a photo, anything like online. It's often used so people can pick out an exact color. So for example, if you're like, I want a yellow phone case, there's obviously like an absurd amount of yellows. Like you could have this yellow or you could have this yellow, you know what I mean? But ultimately, we're going to find some hex codes, not necessarily to get like an exact hex code and then to match it to a foundation. What we're going to be doing in general is getting a better idea of our undertone. I'm going to take a natural light photo of yourself, and this works even better if you have a friend with you in the photo. Haley Kim has also used the technique, getting a picture of you with a friend. It's so smart because you're able to get a better idea of your skin tone and your undertone when you're able to like compare your skin against other skin. I'll leave her video down below. I absolutely love her videos. She is incredible. But what we're going to be doing is you're going to take a photo again with you and a friend or just yourself, and you're going to use a color drop tool or a color finder tool. I feel like everyone has access to something like Canva or a color picker on your iPhone. And if you select any area of your face with a color picker, oftentimes they'll have a window that pops up. You're able to see right away where that color is on the spectrum. Let's use an example here. If we take a look at her skin, we can use the color picker, then we notice that the color that comes up over here in the window is red. So she has more of a cool undertone because again, we're looking for blue, pink, and red for a cool undertone. Whereas in this example, we can see that it comes up much more orange, which would probably lead us to believe that she has more of a warm undertone. Again, we're kind of looking for these more golden tones. I would love to see you guys test out my technique and see what you think. I have personally found it really helpful in identifying other people's undertones. If you're just really confused and you can't decide if you have more of a warm or a cool undertone, this is a good indicator to at least rule out being very cool toned or like very warm toned. Obviously, neutral and olive can be a little bit more difficult, but I think that this is like a really good place to start. And test number 3, and this one is great. I would definitely again recommend going into store with a friend, going into your local Sephora, Ulta, and swatch multiple undertones of certain foundations on your skin. Your face down to your neck, swatch a cool, neutral, warm, and olive foundation. This works even better if you're using the same shade with a different undertone. It might be a little bit easier to try and do this within one foundation range, but try to use, again, the same shade with varying undertones and just start to get an idea of what really reads true for you. Everyone is going to be different with this, but I like to look for a balance between my face and my neck. You can absolutely do a little bit of correction with your bronzer, your blush, and that's something I do all the time. Because my neck is a little bit warmer than my face, I do want my foundation to be a touch warmer, so like neutral to warm rather than neutral to cool. A neutral to cool foundation can look a little stark in comparison to my neck. So keep in mind when you're taking a look at these swatches, I think it's really helpful to swatch from your face down onto your neck and even on other areas of your skin as well. So those are some of my favorite techniques to figure out your undertone. Let's say you know your undertone, you think you have a good shade match, but something just doesn't feel right when you put on foundation. It could be that you are using way too much. I'm just going to talk from personal experience here. Most of the people I know that are putting on makeup think that they need a lot more than they actually do. Less, I think, is always more when it comes to foundation because you can always add more. You can't take away foundation, especially for your first layer of product. So I'm going to throw in a clip for you guys. I think you guys might find this interesting. I'm going to show you guys how my skin looks when I'm using the same amount of foundation on each side of my skin, except one half of my face, I'm putting it all on at once, and the other half, I'm building it up. And do you see how on the side where I put all of the product on at once, it doesn't look bad. It just looks a little bit heavier. And on the other side, I didn't even really need all of that product, but it still looks more seamless. Take the product on the back of your hand and essentially use this as your palette. Slowly take the product from the back of your hand and add on the coverage. This works for concealer too, by the way. You can always add more, but you can't take it away, like I said. Okay, so let's say you have a good shade match. You are slowly building up your product and not using too much. So you know you got the coverage that you want, but just something doesn't feel right. You might not be taking your skin type into account. Skin type is so important when it comes to foundation. I'm really gonna breeze through this because I feel like most of us know our skin type by now, but you have dry skin, your skin feels dry and tight all over oftentimes. Combination skin has areas both of oiliness and dryness, or could also be normal in some areas and oily in, let's say, just the T-zone. And then oily skin is oily. It's pretty consistently oily. But you could have normal skin. In the summer, I tend to have more normal skin, and it doesn't get really oily and it doesn't get super dry. Here is the kicker, you guys. There is no reason you should be buying a 24-hour wear foundation if you have dry skin. I know so many people want a good long wear foundation and they feel like their foundation is not holding up throughout the day. But I'm telling you right now, chances are your foundation is not lasting the way you want it to because you're not taking your dry skin into account. So your coverage might actually not be lasting because your skin is drying out throughout the day. Every brand has their own marketing, and a lot of brands, I think, are not honest enough with the consumer about how the product is going to perform on different skin types. So let's talk about some buzzwords and words that you guys should keep in mind, which typically indicate whether or not a foundation is going to work for you based on your skin type. So if you have more dry or mature skin, buzzwords that you could look for are hydrating, nourishing, dewy, and luminous. Buzzwords for oily skin, Things you want to look for are 24-hour wear, which, I mean, no one's wearing their foundation for that long, hopefully. 24-hour wear or 12-hour wear, silky and lightweight. And for normal or even combination skin, look for words like satin, skin-like finish, natural finish. Keep in mind that the quote finish of a foundation, the way it finishes on the face and looks, that will take precedent over any other statement. If it says it's going to keep your skin hydrated all day, but it says it's also a matte finish, and you have dry skin, I'm just telling you guys, I know there's ways of making it work, but if you're just starting out and you just can't get your foundation right, I would honestly say skip matte foundation if you are dry. And I'd be happy to get into a video on like if you have oily skin and you want to wear luminous foundation, I'd be happy to do more of a deep dive on that. But if you just want to get your foundation right, I always say that finish takes precedent over the claims of the foundation. Let's just do a lightning round of some foundation recommendations based on skin type. So if you have dry or mature skin, the It Cosmetics CC cream has been a recommendation of mine for a very long time. The It Cosmetics CC cream is actually a foundation I put my mom onto and she absolutely loves it. It is so good for dryness, for skin that does have wrinkles. The Kosas Revealer foundation is also excellent. I love this one in the winter for my dry skin, and it also is great for mature skin. Let's say you have more normal skin. Again, I have more normal skin right now, and I'll be honest, both of these recommendations could probably also work for dry skin too. The Kogendo Aqua Foundation, it is what is on my face today. It honestly will probably be my wedding foundation. It is absolutely beautiful. It is such a skin-like finish, a beautiful kind of satin skin-like finish. The Shiseido Radiant Lifting is also a beautiful option. It has a little bit more glow than the Kogendo, but both are absolutely beautiful for normal skin. For combination skin, the Shiseido Original Synchro Skin, if you have not tried this and you have combination skin, run, do not walk. It will keep your skin so balanced and it lasts on the skin excellently. And if you have very oily skin, it is a cult classic for a reason. The Estee Lauder Double Wear sits so closely on the skin and it is great for oil control. Beautiful matte finish, but on oily skin, it looks way more skin-like. On me, it would be very matte, but on oily skin, it ends up just looking like skin. Another recommendation that I've seen a lot of people throw out is the new Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. I have that one. On my dry skin, it doesn't fare well, but having played with the formula, I have a very good feeling that it will be good for oily skin. All right, so let's say, Amanda, I know my undertone, my shade match is good. I'm applying it in thin layers, and I've tried out a lot of different foundations for my specific skin type. This is when I would say that there might be a big possibility that you're not prepping or priming your skin properly. So this is when I'm gonna tell you guys to go check out my video on how to prime and prep the skin and all of the different things that can go wrong there because there's a lot. Prepping your skin has a huge impact on how our foundations are going to look. Keep in mind, our skin can often change day to day, and how we prep our skin always starts with skincare and what we're doing in that first step when we wake up in the morning. So I really highly suggest checking out that video. And when all else fails, this is my number one motto for you all. Texture has more to do with it than you could ever imagine. I think when folks find a foundation that has a beautiful blur and just melts onto the skin, or has this desired finish or texture on the skin once it's applied, everything else doesn't matter as much. For me personally, if I have a dark spot or a pimple shining through on my face, or I'm just not quite getting the coverage that I would have wanted, but the quality of my skin looks good. It doesn't look overly dry, it doesn't look overly oily. The foundation isn't settling, it doesn't look crepey. Having a product that makes the actual quality of your skin look better, I think is number one. Once you find a product with a good texture, it for me, it really, really goes a long way. And that's when I would again point you to the other foundations that I just recommended. I'm happy to do more foundation-centric videos and roundups if you guys want. But again, I think texture is so, so important. If you guys have any other questions, I am here to help you guys out. So leave me a comment down below and definitely leave any tips or tricks you think might be helpful for folks. If you guys found value in this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up so that other people can find it. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe before you go. Overall, thank you guys for being here, and I will see you in my next one.